Hello, this is my second attempt at doing this Facebook Live. Having a few internet problems today, so I hope you can hear me. Just an announcement that we have changed our payment scheme. Courses have been £59 per seat for a year now, I think. But we've realised over recent months that the exponential growth in need for our training because of COVID-19 has coincided and hit a cost of living crisis. Now, we've also recognised that most of our learners are individual learners that are paying out of their own pocket rather than an NHS trust or a council or university, whatever. So we are aware that the majority of the population in the UK and our training is accessible worldwide. And there are various countries around the world who are also going through an economic dodgy time. So this applies to anyone that could potentially be a learner of ours. So we are offering a pay what you can afford scheme. Our training is free to anyone that genuinely cannot afford to pay. We see you, we recognise that financial constraints could well be putting off you participating in our training. So our training is free to anyone who cannot afford it, but who has a duty of care over ME/CFS patients within your working environment, whether that's as an employer, a teacher, or a healthcare professional. I've seen far too many Twitter threads from nurses who are using food banks. So I know that people in the medical profession might not necessarily be able to afford our training, but we need you to learn about the disease. So that takes away the financial constraints from being a reason as to why you can't participate in our training. For everybody else, we're removing the £59 cost. What we're saying is we would like a minimum of £10 to be paid, but you can pay what you want. Pay what you can afford, but the minimum is £10. That applies to individual licences and group licences. Please pay with your conscience. If you can afford 30, please don't pay 10, because we give 50% of our surplus to ME/CFS Biobank in the UK. That's Cure ME. They're a research facility that do biomedical research into myalgic encephalomyelitis, otherwise known as chronic fatigue syndrome. So you'll be funding research into the disease that you are learning about. We've also given you an option. If you, for example, paid £10 because you don't think that the course would be worth any more, and then get to the end of the course and realise actually it's worth a lot more than I paid, and you are able to afford a little bit more, we would encourage you to pay a little bit more at the end of the course. As I said, there's no judgment here. If you genuinely can't afford the training, please do participate for free. We need as many people as possible to learn about ME/CFS. The reason we do not offer our training for free before today is because we are a social enterprise. This means that we're in the third sector, so we're kind of a charity, but we use business methods to raise our overheads and to raise raise money for good causes. We can get donations. We've got a donate here button on our website. We are in the third sector. We're a community interest company. So we make money from business methods rather than relying entirely on funding and donations. That's why we charge for our training. We like to earn the money that's in our bank account rather than asking for funding. However, we are now asking for funding for wider projects, but that's a side issue. That's why we don't offer our training for free, because not only are we solving a social issue that is very poor support and inadequate support for ME/CFS patients in 3 key sectors: healthcare, education and business, but we're also solving the lack of research funding. In theory, we can solve both of those problems by charging for training. However, we've now hit a cost of living crisis and we've got to get real. We know that an awful lot of people will now not be able to afford it. So whether you are an individual or an organisation, yes, you can participate for free, but if you can afford it, please do pay a reasonable amount for what you are buying. Okay? Spread the word. Stripey's training is now free for those who can't afford it. Thank you very much for listening.